It is Sunday, September 6, 2020 at 8:03 p.m. Alright, let's take a look at some headlines. We have California's wildfires are creating giant lightning-filled volcanic eruption clouds in California. Take a look at this. Let's see if I can zoom in into this better. Look at that. Look at that. That looks like a volcano cloud indeed, but it is actually a forest fire cloud. Just wildfires happening in California, creating these immense clouds. Alright, it says California is burning like hell right now, and the fires are more visibly menacing than usual thanks to the rare pyrocumulus clouds that flames are creating. We see more pictures of that. It says the fires are burning up so hot that they're making their own pyrocumulus cloud systems, each up to 5 miles high. These clouds are also making firefighting efforts more difficult. Look at this. Right there at the edge of the wing of the plane, you see this giant smoke cloud. Looks like a volcano cloud, but it is actually fires. It says the intense heat induces convection, which causes the air mass to rise, and point of stability, usually the presence of moisture, causes apocalyptic clouds raising high in the atmosphere. And more frightening, these clouds look like a giant volcanic eruption somewhere in the Golden State. There are plenty of dangerous volcanoes around. Medicine Lake Volcano, Mount Shasta, Lassen Volcanic Center, Clear Lake Volcanic Field, Long Valley Volcanic Region, Coastal Volcanic Field, Huhebe Craters, and Salton Buttes. Says formation of pyrocumulus clouds. Normal clouds are formed when the sun heats the Earth's surface, causing water to evaporate and rise into the atmosphere, where it cools and condenses into a cloud. There's a relatively slow process compared to the formation of pyrocumulus clouds, which come from intense heat. Wildfire burns the moisture out of the vegetation. The moisture then accumulates in smoke particles and rapidly condenses as it rises. Pyrocumulus clouds are most commonly seen above volcanic eruptions, which produce lots of steam. If you've ever seen an evil-looking cloud creating dry lightning above a volcano, it's a pyrocumulus cloud. These colored black and dark brown by volcanic ash, whereas ones created by wildfires are usually dark gray, caused by smoke and ash. As you see here. Let's zoom into that. Look at that. Just insane. You see the fires burning on the bottom, and then just rising onto these gigantic clouds. Alright. So, my cousin recently, he lives in California. He just recently shared with us, my family, that it is 111 degrees and the power is out in his building. So that means that it's intense heat, 111 degrees, there's fires going around, and there's power outages happening in California. So be aware of that, guys. Be aware that there's power outages going around. Alright, next. World Health Organization admits that polio vaccine-derived viruses currently cause new polio outbreaks in Africa. You see a child here says the current polio vaccine caused polio outbreaks in Africa. It says a year ago, news outlets briefly shone a light on a fact that makes public health officials squirms, that oral polio vaccines are causing polio outbreaks. With reports streaming in through 2019 regarding the circulation of vaccine-derived polioviruses in numerous African and Asian countries. The CDC virologist confessed, "We have now created more new emergencies of the virus, which we have stopped, more than we have stopped." So they have 400 more recorded cases of vaccine-derived polio in more than 20 countries worldwide. This week, the same story is making some headlines with the WHO's shamefaced announcement that the oral polio vaccine is responsible for an alarming polio outbreak in Sudan. likely an ongoing vaccine-sparked epidemic in Chad, with parallel outbreaks in a dozen other African countries. In fact, between 2019 and August 2020, there were 400 recorded cases of vaccine-derived polio for more than 20 countries worldwide. Ironically, the World Health Organization discussed this setback barely a week after it declared the African continent to be free of wild poliovirus, which has not been seen in Africa since 2016. So they had just declared Africa, the continent, to be free of wild polio virus. Then the WHO comes in with all these vaccines, and they get 400 cases of the vaccine derived polio virus. That is insane. Just look at these poor children getting the vaccine administered and then they get polio. That's just crazy. Hopefully, that doesn't happen with coronavirus. People don't get the vaccine and possibly get that, because that would just be insane. Alright, next. I was reading this earlier. Okay, let's scroll up. Okay. Apocalyptic flooding affects over 6.8 million people in China's Hunan province and damages 628,000 hectares of farmland. Take a look at that. Look at all that flood water just affecting the region. Biblical floods in China in 2020 is the caption for that picture. It says a total of 6.86 million people were affected by rain-triggered floods this year in central China's Hunan province, local authorities said on Friday. Downpours in the province have led to deaths of 24 people, according to the provincial flood control and drought relief headquarters. It says roughly 21,300 houses collapsed and were severely damaged, and about 628,000 hectares of farmland were damaged by heavy rains. Direct economic losses amounted for 14.63 billion yuan, or about 2.14 billion US dollars, according to official statistics. So China getting hammered by all these floods. That is so sad to see. Please pray for the people of China. Pray for the people of Africa who are getting their vaccines administered. Pray for the people of California with all of these fires and heat going on. It says flooding over 6.8 million people in China's Hunan province this year. A total of 6.86 million people were affected by rain-triggered floods in China and central China's Hunan province. Local authorities said downpours in the province had led to the deaths of 24 people. According to the provincial flood control and drought relief headquarters, roughly 21,300 houses collapsed and were severely damaged. About 28,000 hectares of farmland were damaged by the heavy rains. Direct economic losses amount to 2.14 billion US dollars. As of Wednesday, the Hunan province has suffered 24 instances of heavy rainfall this year, with a cumulative rainfall of 1,299.4 millimeters. Post-disaster construction will be basically completed by the end of December 2020, and people who lost their homes due to the floods will move into new homes or safe residences that will help the government before the Spring Festival in mid-February 2021, according to the Department of Emergency Management in Hunan. So hopefully they get these people their homes built, and they'll be alright. Alright, next, here we go with the earthquakes. Alright, so we have a couple of earthquakes. We have a 6.3, 45 kilometers northwest of Oval Valle, Chile, 30.7 kilometers in depth. We have a 6.6 in the central mid-Atlantic ridge at 10 kilometers in depth. They do have the tsunami icon warning up for it, but I do not believe that there are any tsunami warnings, watches, or threats. See, no tsunami warnings, watches, advisories, or threats. So there's plenty of 6.6 earthquakes happening, plenty of large earthquakes. The 5.1 earthquake in Kitabaraki, Japan, at 31.5 kilometers in depth. We have a 6.3 in Talagutong, Philippines, at 119.4 kilometers in depth. We have a 5.2 in Apura, Indonesia. We have a 5.1 in Gonbad in Iran at 10 kilometers in depth. So we've got plenty of large earthquakes popping off, and you have another one here in the Mid-Atlantic. It says Northern Mid-Atlantic Ridge of 5.3. So we have two in the Mid-Atlantic. We have one that's a 6.6 in the Central Mid-Atlantic. Then we have another one that's a 5.3 in the Northern Mid-Atlantic. So we're having multiple sixes going off. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hit like and subscribe for more videos, and see you guys next time. Stay safe out there, and pray for your neighbors and people in California, people in China going with those polio vaccines. In Africa with those polio vaccines. People in China dealing with all those floods. There's so much we have to pray for. Alright guys, see you next time. God bless.